So what happens when a family member that's taken care of you all your life is in crisis? Do you immediately respond to them, or do you just get that phone call when you're in Chicago and they're in California and all of a sudden you say, "What's going on, Mom?" "Oh, everything's fine, honey. How's it in Chicago?" But really what's going on is you just got a phone call from the neighbor that says your mom has fallen 3 times. And she says, "Honey, I'm okay. Don't worry about me." But really she's in crisis. It's important for us to understand and take care of our seniors, but sometimes they don't want to be taken care of because they're a proud people. We're in the sandwich generation. In other words, we're now reversing our roles. We're now taking care of our parents who took care of us. So are you ready to do that? What does that mean exactly? So taking care of our parents oftentimes is making the hard decisions about where they live. They might have lived in their home that you grew up in for 50 years, but they can't survive there any longer. They're the only ones there. They might have a caregiver, they might have another brother or sister that lives there, but they're in crisis and they have to do something. So what do they have to do? What they have to do is think about maybe moving to a different location. Well, what does that mean, moving to a location? I don't want to leave my home, I'm going to die here. No, what it means basically is they might need different levels of care that they themselves can't help themselves with, or they themselves that maybe have to look at somebody else to help take care of them. That's what a caregiver is. But if you're in Chicago and they're in California, you can't be their caregiver unless you want to relocate. That's where some of the crisis is. So what does a senior do that's in crisis? They need to take a look at their housing system. Well, they need to go into what's called independent living. Independent living means they can go to an apartment with a lot of other seniors and get along and basically take their own meds and sit at the dining table and interact with people and go to social clubs and go to things like that, get a bus to drive them. That's independent living. Some people enjoy that environment. And actually, there's a lot of independent living communities all across the United States that you know are in your community. That's the next level. Assisted living. Well, what's the difference? Well, assisted living means that they need extra help. They can't even be independent on their own, so they need an assistance. So in order to go into assisted living, they have to be medically evaluated. A lot of assisted living locations out there in your community. But are they cheap? Are they inexpensive? No, they're costly. So are you ready financially? Is your trust set up in order to understand how this is going to be paid for? Oftentimes you have to sell your departing residents that maybe your mom and dad and you grew up all your life in order to fund the rest of the years of their life. That's assisted living, where they need a little bit more care than you're able to give them by themselves, to operate by themselves. Assisted living locations are great because they still have a place to congregate, a place to watch TV together, a place to meet with other seniors, a place to be entertained. But unless you have set it up with a trust or a way to fund that, most of the time these are private pay. The next level is what's affected a lot of us these days because we see it in the media, and that's Alzheimer's or dementia. What a cruel disease. So there are locations now to help people that have memory problems. There are places that basically you could take your mom, dad, aunt, uncle, and basically then put them in a place where you know they're going to be protected. Because if somebody has dementia, somebody has Alzheimer's, it's very cruel, and it's a slow death, and it's very sad death. And it happens to people at all points in life, not just the sandwich generation. We talk about seniors as being 50 plus. There are people that are in their 40s that have dementia. Something to think about. So you as a family member, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to figure out where mom and dad, aunt or uncle needs to be? And how are you going to take care of them? And what does it cost to take care of them? So again, what happens to their departing residents? What happens to the home that's been there? Well, you need a specialist to basically take a look at all of that. And a specialist would be somebody that understands not only being in the sandwich generation, but understands how seniors think, how they operate, and be a benefit to you as a family member. Because really the impact not only is on the person that's being infected, your mom, dad, aunt, uncle, brother or sister possibly, but really the effect is on you as an individual. It's going to change your whole lifestyle. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to come out to California from Chicago 5 times a month, 5 times a year, whatever it takes in order to take care of someone that's taken care of you all your life? So say you're able to get the family member to depart their residence, to get them out of the home. What do you do with the home now? Well, it depends on your situation. If you again have a full-time job, what are you going to do? You can't rent that thing out. You can't take that departing residence, whether it's a condo, a single family residence, a townhome in the downtown area of your local city. You don't have the time to do that, number one, and you don't have the knowledge to do that. So what are you going to do with the house? Well, some people say, well, you know, it's in the family trust and everybody has to make a decision. I think maybe we'll just rent this. Well, are you prepared to go in and clean this house out, take all the stuff that you've grown to love and your mom and dad have grown to love as an example, and sort through it and go, okay, we'll keep this, we'll sell this? We can do that for you as a realtor. We can definitely do that. That's what we do. But that's an important family decision that you're going to have to get that family meeting together. And what happens if you don't get along with your brothers and sisters or anybody in your family, and all of a sudden you're the executor of the will, you're the executor of the trust, and everybody goes, I don't care what you do with it, just give me my share. And that happens a lot, a lot. So what are you going to do with that departing residence depends upon your own lifestyle, because oftentimes that departing residence is the wealth that has been developed from your family and from that particular thing as far as wealth building in your family. So think about this. Are you willing to take a family wealth situation where you're thinking maybe in your own mind, oh gosh, mom and dad are doing okay, oh mom is kind of getting a little memory problems. You know, you're willing to take that wealth that you're hoping to inherit, 1 million, 2 million, 100 million, and leave it up to mom and dad to decide what they're going to do. No, you have to decide with them and for them, because sometimes they can't make that decision. So think about what you're going to do with that house. If you can do property management, that's fine. Rent the house out. That's up to you, but you're going to have to pay a property manager. That's a lot out of the bottom line. Let's say you want to sell the house. Okay, well, how do you know how much the house is worth? You're not a realtor. You might be an investor. You might have hedge funds. You might be a doctor or a lawyer, but you don't have time to do that. That's what a realtor does. A realtor comes in, does an assessment of the home, does a comparative market analysis, and determines what is the value. Then you could decide as a family what you want to do with it. Do you want to rent it? Do you want to lease it out? Do you want to sell it? What do you want to do? But that's a tough decision your family has to make. If you're making that decision, that's something where a realtor comes into play. And I think that's important, because that family wealth, if you wanted to help fund the people that took care of you all your life, that's your decision. But don't forget your family members that took care of you all your life. We all have family wealth. We all have things that are out there that help us and been helped through the years. So it's your job now to figure out, what am I going to do with my mom and dad, my aunt or uncle, my brother or sister that's taken care of me all my life? That's what I want you to think about. Hi, if you're new to the area or you need to talk to me, I'm your senior real estate specialist. That's a specialty within the National Association of Realtors that allows me to understand what's going on with you, your family, the seniors in your lives. Contact me. I'm your senior real estate specialist.